What's up, everybody? I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. My name is Mel and welcome to my channel, Divine Feminine Works. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. This channel is everything tarot, astrology, and spirituality. So if those are the things that interest you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, everybody, happy full moon in Aries. By the time that you're watching this, it will actually be the day of the full moon. So first, we're going to get into the astrology of the full moon and what we can expect and what's sort of going on in the cosmos during this full moon. And then we're going to get into the tarot for each individual sign to see what messages Spirit has for everyone under this full moon. So of course, we've got to start with the basics. What is a full moon? I'm sure all of you know this already, but for those of you that don't, the full moon is the final stage. Well, it's not the final stage. It's the midway point in the lunar cycle. It's when the moon is its fullest. It's when it's most visible on the earth. It's the iconic moon that we've all come to know and love. And actually, I'm going to put a link in the description box below on a article that I wrote about the different phases of the moon. So you can check that out, click below and check that out. But anyway, back to it. So under the full moon, everything is illuminated. Again, the moon is its brightest, it's bright, round, big in the sky, and that's when everything becomes illuminated. And full moons are typically a time of release. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know I've talked extensively about the new moon and the full moon and how the new moon is all about setting intentions and planting that seed. Well, the full moon is when that seed finally comes to fruition. To use the example of apples, if you planted an apple seed during the new moon, by the time we get to the full moon, theoretically speaking, because it takes longer than like 2 weeks for an apple to fully develop. But by the time we get to the full moon, that is when the apple is ready to be picked off of the apple tree. It's illuminated, everything has come to its fruition, and it's time to release. Full moons are all about releasing. It's about letting go of whatever it is you set the intention for during the new moon. And this particular full moon is going to be a little intense. Full disclaimer, the whole month of October is going to be pretty intense, and I'll get to that in a separate video. But this particular full moon is going to be a bit confrontational, and it's going to have a lot of us, not only in our feelings, but feeling very vulnerable as well. You know, or maybe you don't know, the moons regulate emotions. The moon is all about our emotions, our, inner thoughts, our feelings. And by the time we get to the full moon, emotions that have built up under the surface are ready to come out. And so you'll find that most people are pretty emotional during the full moon. A lot of times some people are emotional during all phases of the moon, but that's another story for another day. But typically, emotions run very high under the full moon, and this one is no exception. So we start out with this full moon at 9 degrees Aries. Now, Aries, you've probably been hearing a lot about Aries because Mars is currently in Aries, and Mars just went retrograde a couple of weeks ago. So we're already feeling, Aries is already playing sort of a major part in our cosmic lives right now. And this is exactly where this full moon is happening. It's happening at 9 degrees, which is the Sagittarius degree. Now, Aries and Sagittarius are both fire signs. So having this full moon with this intense fire energy is like this explosive sort of energy. It's this energy of moving. It's this energy of expansion. And underlying all of this, underlying the energy of the full moon, you're going to feel this desire to broaden your horizons, to move beyond what you've already known. Perhaps you've been living life a certain way. Perhaps you've been experiencing life a certain way. This full moon is going to sort of awaken that desire within you to expand, to broaden your horizons, to experience new things and go on new adventures. That's sort of the underlying energy of the moon in itself. But the moon is making some aspects that are going to be a little challenging and a little frustrating. So the first aspect that this full moon in Aries is making is a conjunction to Chiron. Chiron is not actually a planet. Chiron is a comet. But we include it within the astrological chart because there's a lot of meaning and substance to Chiron that directly affects our lives. Chiron is known as the wounded healer, and as such, Chiron allows you to learn and evolve through pain, in a sense. Chiron makes you acknowledge the things that have hurt you. It makes you vulnerable, but it also helps you use that vulnerability as information in order to move forward successfully. Now, Chiron, as you can tell, in my description just now, I used a lot of words like feelings and hurt and things like that. That's already pretty vulnerable. Add the moon on top of it with a conjunction. So Chiron and the moon are going to be in the exact same place, right next to each other, right on top of each other. And you can expect to feel extremely vulnerable during this full moon. And what's going to happen is a lot of your past hurts, a lot of your past pains are going to be coming up to the surface. And again, like I said before, you use the energy of Chiron in order to gain the information necessary to successfully move forward. And if you're still holding on to certain pains, to certain hurts, it's going to be hard for you to move forward because inevitably you're going to confront that again and again in life. And until you can learn how to deal with it, process it, and release it, which is the whole point of the full moon, you're not going to be able to move forward successfully. So again, during this full moon, a lot of us are going to be feeling very vulnerable, very raw in a sense. It's almost like any little slight, any little word is really going to wound us deeply. It's going to wound us quite deeply, you know? And speaking of words, there's some other aspects that this full moon is making that are pretty important. And although these are minor aspects, meaning that they're not the major aspects that we normally focus on in astrology, they do sort of add a certain amount of depth and color to everything that's going on right now. So like I said, you're going to be feeling quite vulnerable. You're going to be feeling emotional. You're going to feel like fighting. I mean, we've already discussed this with respect to Mars going retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is also playing a part in this because, again, this moon is happening in Aries. Mars retrograde is in Aries. It's, you know, crazy emotions across the board. But I want to highlight these two minor aspects that are going to add some depth to this. So we've got the moon is going to be quincunx Mercury in Scorpio. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole thing of what quincunx means because, again, it's a minor aspect in astrology and that just goes beyond the purview of this video right now. But it's important because Mercury just moved into Scorpio the other day. And communication, when Mercury is in Scorpio, communication takes on a very deep and profound level. Anything regarding Scorpio is not superficial at all. This isn't about cute little conversations or superficial, you know, shooting the breeze and stuff like that. Mercury in Scorpio gets to the heart of the matter, especially when it comes to communication. And so with this in aspect to the full moon, where we're already feeling vulnerable, where we're already feeling raw and, you know, touchy, right? We've got this quincunx to Mercury in Scorpio, which is basically going to add an extra frustration to this, especially by way of words. So be mindful. You might hear some really like messed up things in the next couple of days. You might have words that cut at the very soul of you. You might get into a confrontation with somebody where words are being exchanged and they may not even be intentionally trying to hurt you, but whatever they say really cuts deep. And that really speaks to that Chiron conjunct the full moon. Again, we're going to feel vulnerable. So any sort of slight from anybody is going to have us feeling crazy. It's going to have us feeling crazy emotional, ready to fight, all of that stuff. Now, this full moon is also quincunx to Venus in Leo. Now, Venus in Leo is all about romance, right? Especially when it comes to relationships regarding romantic partners or children. They are going to also add an extra level of irritation to this already irritating time. So romantic partners, children, creative endeavors, but more specifically, it's all about your close relationships with either your children or your romantic partners. They're going to add an extra level of frustration to all of this. So you're already feeling vulnerable. And you may have words exchanged with romantic partners or kids that might just send you over the edge, that might really hurt you and might remind you of past hurts. That and those words are going to trigger those past hurts to come back up to the surface and sort of reignite and sort of make you feel bad, feel again, I can't overuse the word vulnerable, but vulnerable, emotional. But remember what I said at the beginning, and remember what all of this is for, especially when we're dealing with Chiron. Chiron gives you the information, the emotional information in order to move forward successfully. And you need to address those past hurts. And that's all going to come up with this full moon in Aries. Apart from just this hurtful communication, we have some of the major aspects that are also still playing a part and a role in this whole dance that we're calling the full moon in Aries. The first is, by virtue of being a full moon, it means that the moon and the sun are completely opposite from each other. So with the moon in Aries, that means that the sun is in Libra, and we are still in Libra season. So the sun is in Libra. So your consciousness, your thoughts, your very being is focused on relationships right now. It's focused on particularly harmony in relationships. And there is a certain part of us, some more than others, who, are very focused on maintaining peace and harmony within relationships. And sometimes that plays out as us appeasing people, of us really not speaking our mind because we just want to keep the peace and keep the harmony. And I have to tell you, and I hate to break it to you, this moon is not the time to want to appease people. This is not the time to just want to keep the peace for fear of confrontation. This is a very confrontational new moon. And again, it's because of this Chiron conjunction. This Chiron conjunction is giving you the information in order to be able to move forward successfully. And appeasing people for the sake of keeping the peace is not going to help you move forward successfully. This is about voicing your opinion. It is about maintaining harmony and peace within relationships, but not at the cost of your own emotional well-being. That's exactly what Chiron is teaching us with this full moon. You need to create balance in a way that is fair to both parties. If you are just appeasing people, if you're just a yes man or a yes woman, just so that you don't rock the boat, you are going to have a really hard time with this full moon, because you are going to be bombarded with situations or words that make you realize that you're not comfortable doing that. And that's exactly what's going to happen under this full moon. And like I was saying before, with Mars retrograde, this full moon is happening in Aries, where Mars retrograde is. And it's going to make you want to rebel. As I said in the very beginning, this full moon is happening at 9 degrees Aries, which is the Sagittarius degree. And that's all about expansion. It's all about adventure. It's all about experiencing something new. And that's how you're going to feel. You're going to want to experience something new. And this all depends on where this is happening in your chart, which I'll get to at the second half of this video. But you want to expand. You want to rebel. The confines within which you've been trapped is, you want to break free from that. That is where we're going. Now, the problem with that at this particular time is that Mars retrograde is square to Saturn in Capricorn, and Saturn just went direct. So Saturn now is having the energy to do all the normal Saturn things, which is obstacles, delays, challenges, roadblocks, all of those seemingly negative things that we experience in life when we're trying to move forward is a result of Saturn. And Saturn now has the power to do that since it just went direct. And squaring Mars, which is a hard aspect, you feel like you want to break free, but there are certain confines that are keeping you where you're at. And particularly because Mars is retrograde, meaning that Mars doesn't have its full Martian energy. Martian energy is all about pushing through. It's about speed. It's about physical agility, endurance, all of that stuff. Mars just doesn't have that energy right now because it's retrograde. And squaring Saturn, it's like complete restriction. It's almost like being in a cage. So although the energy of the full moon wants us to break free and move forward, we just can't right now with Saturn squaring Mars retrograde. So you want to break free, but you're feeling confined. There are roadblocks, there are obstacles that are preventing you from, moving forward and experiencing something new and expanding. At the same time, you're feeling very vulnerable because we've got Chiron conjuncting the full moon. So you're all in your feelings. Anything anyone says to you can really have you popping off or feeling like shit. And a lot of repressed anger specifically and past hurts are coming up to the surface to be dealt with. You may have some relationships, particularly with romantic partners or children, that are really like testing you right now, that are really sort of pounding at you and making you feel vulnerable, making you feel raw, making you feel, just making you feel bad, basically. And that's the sort of energy that's going on with this full moon. But I do want to say that one of the things that can help you navigate this crazy energy, this intense energy, is going to be communication. It's going to be honest communication, and it's going to be communication that's geared toward fairness for all, like I said before. This is not about the time to appease people. It's about the time to speak up. If something hurts you, if something makes you feel less worthy, if something makes you feel insecure, if something makes you feel less than yourself, especially as it pertains to a relationship in your life, communication is the key. Communication will be the key to having this transit run smoothly for you, rather than this transit wreaking havoc on your emotional being. That's really the key. So speak up, confront people, try your best not to pop off and get physical or, get into really heated verbal arguments, because that's only going to make things worse. But speak up. Say what you mean what you say. If you're hurt, say that. Don't just appease people. Don't just try to keep the peace for peace sake, and you'll be able to navigate this particular full moon smoothly. Well, as smooth as you can hope to handle it, because like I said before, it's still pretty intense, and it's still going to be a little bit crazy. And remember that we're all going through this together. This manifests for everyone differently, and so everyone is going to feel different frustrations and different hurts. But just know that we're all processing past things together. So in that regard, be kind, because you don't necessarily know what emotional baggage people are carrying. You don't know what people have been through in the past. Be kind, but don't be a doormat. That's the message for this full moon in Aries. So now that we've gotten that, let's get into tarot messages for all the signs for this full moon. All right, so first up we've got Aries. And Aries, this full moon in Aries is happening in your first house. That's your house of self. So when it comes to this vulnerability, when it comes to this rawness, you're going to be feeling this on a very personal level. A lot of things that may hurt you regarding your actual physical self or your attitude or your mannerisms may be coming up to the surface to be dealt with. And dealt with, like I said before, in a way that gives you information on how to move forward successfully. So try not to take everything too personally. Remember, everything is happening for a reason. We're all going through this together. And the best way to combat this energy, the best way to get through it, is to communicate. Y'all don't have a problem communicating. What y'all do have a problem with, however, is fighting. So for you guys, you Aries that like to pop off, please do your best not to get into fist fights or extreme verbal arguments. Speak your piece and move on. That's the best way to deal with this energy. So let's get into the tarot and see what messages Spirit has for you. Look at this. We've got truth be told. Like, yes, speak your truth. Say what is on your mind. We have another one here. Blessed. Remember that you are blessed. Remember that this is all happening for a good reason. Don't get stuck in a negative frame of mind where you feel like, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world, or this is really bad. Don't get stuck in that sort of energy. Remember to be truthful. Remember to speak your piece. And at best, try to come from a place of understanding. Try to come from a place of understanding. All right, let's get another card here for you, Aries. We've got the Prince of Pentacles. So I feel like this might have to do with a work situation. I feel like when it comes to something that you've been working on, I feel like that's where you're going to feel the most sensitivity. Like someone may be criticizing how you do your work, or someone may be criticizing how you work or what work you're actually doing. And that is what is going to spark this whole situation of you speaking your truth, dealing with past hurts and pains and things like that. So that's what we got for you, Aries. All right, so next up we've got Taurus. Taurus, this Aries full moon is happening in your 12th house of spirituality and solitude. The thing is about the 12th house is that a lot of times we don't notice what's going on. So all of this may be playing out in a way that you're just not seeing or not even noticing. But underneath the surface, underneath everything, you're going to be feeling these things, feeling the need to break free, feeling the need to start something new. That is what, and this full moon will definitely illuminate a lot of subconscious things. More so than any other sign, because this is happening for you in your 12th house. A lot of subconscious and repressed emotions may definitely come up. And you may find that you are isolating right now, or you've been by yourself for the last couple of days. And within that solitude, you are going to experience a lot of repressed emotions that are going to come up to the surface. So again, the best way to deal with this is to communicate what you need, communicate what's hurting you, especially as it pertains to any relationships that play a part in this, and to speak your truth. All right, so let's get some cards here and see what Spirit has to say. All right, we've got chaos and conflict. I'm not sure if you can see that. And we've got chop wood. And this basically signifies that there are going to be, it's like, if you notice this zebra, it has the markings of a giraffe, and it looks like those markings are coming off to reveal the actual zebra markings. There is a lot of the subconscious that is coming up to the surface to be destroyed so that you can actually live as your authentic self. And it's time to make some cuts. It's time to do some cleanup work, especially with your subconscious, especially with those repressed feelings that you've been experiencing. Let's get another card here. Yeah, we've got the Wheel of Fortune. It's time now. The time has come. Divine timing is at play right now in order for you to clear up a lot of that inner gunk that is preventing you from moving forward successfully. All right, next up, we've got Gemini. Gemini, this full moon in Aries is happening in your 11th house of friendship and goals. So this full moon is going to shine on friendships perhaps that are not working out for you. Groups that you're a part of that may not be working out. You may experience repressed emotions when it comes to certain goals you've tried to fulfill in life. You may experience those past hurts, those past disappointments coming back up in order to show you how to move forward successfully. Again, this could be with friends, with groups, or with certain goals you've been trying to achieve in life. And just like every other sign, the advice is communicate. If you've got friends or people around you who are bringing up these emotions, who are hurting you in a way, or friendships where you're just trying to keep the peace, now is the time to speak up, confront them, and get things off your chest. Speak your truth. However, just try to make sure that you don't get into any physical fights or any like crazy verbal arguments. All right, so let's see what messages Spirit has for you for this full moon. We've got by the book. I feel like when it comes to certain goals that you've been trying to achieve, it's like you've been doing it step by step by step. You've been doing it by the book. You've been doing it in a way that is expected of you. But like I said in the beginning of this video, this full moon is going to have you feeling like you want to expand, like you want to break out of the box that you've been in. And I feel like for you, Gemini, you're going to want to start to experience new things. But when it comes to goals, I feel like you're going to want to start to achieve goals in a completely different way. Yeah, we have the Hierophant. And then we have the Prince of Swords. Yeah, like I said, the Hierophant is all about institutions. It's all about doing things in a very ritualistic almost kind of way. And I feel like if you look at this Prince of Swords card, it's like you're coming through and you're cutting that off. So Gemini, you guys are going to be doing things in a completely different way. And this full moon is going to eliminate what needs, the full moon is going to bring up to the surface what needs eliminating. These rituals, these things that you've been doing in order to achieve your goals, all of that is going to come up to the surface. So you now know what to eliminate so you can move forward successfully. All right, moving right along, we've got Cancer. Cancer, this full moon in Aries is happening in your 10th house of career and public life. So there may be things from the past hurts, past anger with respect to your career or your public life or things of that nature. So again, this full moon is going to bring up all of that stuff in order to be dealt with and removed from your life permanently, so that maybe now you can really move ahead with your career, or you can find a completely different career path, whatever. But regardless, whatever happens, this full moon is meant to move you in the right direction. And again, do your best to avoid serious conflict, avoid fighting, but speak your truth. If someone is hurting you, if someone has hurt you, or if you've just been trying to keep the peace when it comes to authority figures, when it comes to co-workers, employees, even people on the internet that you deal with, if you deal with them for business, remember to speak your truth, but do it in a way that is respectful and that is kind. All right, so let's see what message Spirit has for you for this full moon. Okay, we've got community. This is exactly what I was saying with this happening in your 10th house. So this is all about, could be, I'm hearing online community, like your industry or something like that. And you see, if you look at this community card, you see how this giraffe is, you know, it's loving. This card shows love. And I feel like that is what's waiting for you on the other side of this. You just have to make sure that to get to this point, this requires open and honest communication. Let's just say that. All right, let's get another card here. Okay, so we've got Temperance. And we've got the Devil. So I feel like, and the Devil is all about Capricorn. And Capricorn is very 10th house career oriented. So I feel like there is an alchemy that is going on. There is a tempering of these different personalities, of these different relationships that you have when it comes to career and public life, that is allowing you to have this sense of community. Whereas I feel like before, you didn't really have that sort of feeling. There wasn't love, there wasn't mutual reciprocation when it comes to that particular area of your life. And I feel like this full moon is gonna help illuminate that so you can cut out what's not serving you and you can move forward successfully. All right, so next up we've got Leo. Leo, this full moon is happening in your 9th house of long distance travel and higher education. So this full moon is going to illuminate relationships perhaps that are at a distance from you. Or if you have like children that are in college, perhaps, that could be how this plays out for you. Either way, I feel like it's a relationship that's probably at a distance from you, someone who isn't close to you in proximity, where there are going to be some hurtful words perhaps, or just communication that really cuts deep and that brings up old hurts, old wounds and stuff like that, that is going to be necessary in order for you to sort of cut them off and move forward successfully. Yeah, that's how that's going to play out for you, Leo. So let's get some messages here and see what Spirit has for you for this full moon. We've got to the sea. And what was I saying? This is long distance. So this full moon is definitely playing out with someone that is distant from you. And I feel like whatever communication you have with this person is pretty emotional. Like, I feel like this relationship has been going on for a long time. I mean, if this is a child or something, obviously. But it carries a lot of emotional weight to it. And a lot of that, I'm hearing like tidal wave is going to come and hit you like a tidal wave almost. And that's important, like I said, because it's all about clearing what doesn't serve you in order to move forward successfully. And that's what Chiron is going to be doing. Chiron is going to be bringing up all of those wounds so you to cut them off. And it's almost like to find your inner warrior so that you can forge ahead successfully. Let's get another card here. Yeah, we've got the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is all about communication. This is about speaking your truth. This is about opening your mouth and saying what is hurting you, what's on your mind, what has hurt you in the past. And with that, you're going to have a rebirth here. There's going to be a resurgence of this relationship in a way that's beneficial to the both of you without all of that emotional gunk that you've been carrying around. So you have a real chance at liberation here, Leo, and a whole new relationship here that's going to be healthy and that's going to be for the benefit of both people equally. All right, next up we've got Virgo. Virgo, this full moon in Aries is happening in your 8th house of sex, transformation, and shared resources. So how might this play out for you? For you, this may be brought about by an intimate partner or someone whom you share resources with. There may be some hurtful words, there may be some interactions that not only wound you deeply, but bring up past hurts, past wounds, etc. That is what this full moon is going to shine a light upon. Again, the advice for you and for everyone is to speak your truth. Again, this is a confrontational full moon. This isn't confrontational to the fact where you're getting into fist fights, but it is about speaking your truth and airing out what needs to air out so you can get rid of that emotional gunk that you've been carrying around. So let's get some cards here and see what else is up. We've got fork in the road. I feel like for some of you, when it comes to an intimate partner, you are trying to decide which way to go, whether you guys are going to stay together or not, whether you're going to take your relationship to the next level, whether you're going to join resources or really, like, again, take your relationship to the next level. I really feel like it has to do with stability, like with resources, trying to decide which way to go, whether to get a loan. I feel like that's what a lot of you are concerned with right now. Let's get another card here. We've got the 8 of Cups, and the 8 of Cups is all about walking away from what doesn't serve you, especially emotionally. So I feel like this is definitely letting me know that this is playing out with respect to shared resources that you have with someone. And I feel like airing that out, airing out those grievances, those issues, the things that have been hurting you are going to allow you to finally move forward in the same direction. I feel like it's going to transform your intimate relationship in a very profound way. And I feel like whether you're deciding to stay or to go, I feel like once you communicate and once you get those things off your chest, I feel like the two of you will be able to move forward in whatever direction you decide, but you'll be able to do so harmoniously. You won't be at an impasse anymore. That's how this full moon is going to be affecting you, Virgo. All right, moving right along, we've got Libra. Libra, this full moon in Aquarius is happening in your 7th house of relationships. Libra, you guys are you're very relationship oriented, and I feel like a lot of times you guys, above all other signs, are really focused on keeping the peace. So a lot of times y'all may bite your tongue, you may not say what's really on your mind because you just want to keep the peace and the harmony within the relationship. But this full moon is going to bring to light some past hurts, some past pains that you can't live with any longer, that are detrimental to the viability of your relationships. And you owe it to yourself and to your partner to speak up, speak your truth, say what's on your mind, confront bad behavior, confront behavior that hurts you, so that you can move forward with your partner in real peace and harmony, and in a way that's fair to both of you. So let's get a card here. Interesting. You've got fork in the road. Virgo got the same one. So again, I feel like you guys are also thinking about which way to go with your relationships. I feel like some of your relationships have come to an impasse because of this emotional baggage that either you or your partner or both of you are still holding on to. Let's get another card here. Okay. We've got 5 of Pentacles. And we've got 9 of Swords. So I feel like there is a lot that needs to be said, but I feel like they haven't been said because of this, because of feeling sort of down and out, because of feeling like you've been left out in the cold. And it's like whatever needs to be said has been weighing on you for quite some time. And it's really time to release. It's really time to confront. It's really time to speak your truth so that you get out of this sort of negative energy. And that's so that you're no longer at an impasse. So that you're now at a place where you can move forward in either direction that you want to, but with real peace and harmony this time. All right, next up we've got Scorpio. Scorpio, this full moon in Aries is happening in your 6th house of work and health. So you may have a relationship with a co-worker or co-workers, or you may have a relationship with a romantic partner or children that may be affecting your health. This emotional baggage that you may have been carrying or wounds from the past may actually be affecting your physical body or your physical health. So for you, it's extremely important that you get these things out, and it's important that the full moon is shining a light on this so that you can address it, and that so you can be healthier both emotionally and physically. And also in your work environment. Everyone wants to have healthy relationships across the board. And if there have been past hurts and pains with respect to co-workers or, people with whom you work, you definitely want to speak your truth so that you can have peace and harmony in a way that's beneficial to everyone. All right, let's get some cards and see what's up. We have time for a nap. So like I said, some of you, this may be affecting your actual physical health. So it's time for you to take a break. Now, being that this is a 2 and a 4 that reduced to a 6, I feel like this definitely has to do with a work relationship or a relationship that is taking a toll on your physical body. And you definitely need to take some time out for rest. You may need to take some time off from work, I'm hearing also. So keep that in mind, especially today, or maybe on Friday, so that you may have a long weekend. You might need to do that for your own sanity and for your own health. Let's get another card here. We've got the Queen of Wands. So I feel like if you are able to take some time out, assess the situation, confront people that are necessary, I feel like it's going to have you emerging very confident and very healthy. This is a fire queen, and fire is all about vitality. It's all about life force energy. And I feel like I'm hearing 2 things. For some of you, if you're able to navigate this full moon energy, in the way that you should, you're going to be emerging very well and very healthy. For others of you, I feel like this relationship has to do with a fire queen. So that could be a Leo, an Aries, or a Sagittarius. Either way, same advice as for everyone else. Speak your truth, be respectful, and get whatever is on your chest off so you can move forward successfully. Moving right along, we go into Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this full moon in Aries is happening in your 5th house of self-expression. So this could have to do with, for you particularly, this full moon could illuminate past hurts, past disappointments, past anger, repressed anger, especially as it relates to romantic partners and or children. So that being the case, you may have some words with a child, with a romantic partner, someone that you're dating, someone that you're in, a short-term relationship with, that cuts deep, and it cuts deep to the point where you have past hurts, repressed anger that comes up to the surface to be dealt with. Remember, speak your peace. Say what's on your mind. Say what's on your heart. We've got Mercury in Scorpio that definitely wants to get to the heart of the matter. No superficial communication. And I feel like if you're able to do that, you'll be able to get rid of a lot of that emotional junk that you've been carrying around, so you can move forward successfully and have a better relationship with those people. All right, let's get some cards. Look at that. Soulmates. Oh, how cute is that? Yes, so a lot of you are dealing with soulmates, and in the romantic sense, yes, that could definitely apply to you guys because this is all happening in your 5th house. But it could also be, you know, soulmates aren't just romantic partners, but in this sense, I feel like it is. And I feel like, you know, soulmates are meant to teach you lessons. And I feel like this full moon is playing right into that sort of ideology. Like, they're here to teach you lessons that can be painful. The full moon is going to illuminate these things, and you're going to be able to work on them so that you can have this. Isn't that cute? All right, let's get another card here. We've got the Hierophant. So yeah, some of you guys may be working on a soulmate. So this could be a romantic partner that could lead to marriage. Most definitely for you guys. It's going to be a rocky road to get there, but I feel like you have the ability and the energy to get there if you so choose. But again, you've got to do your homework first. You've got to let go of a lot of those past hurts, those past pains. You've got to communicate. You've got to get to the heart of the matter so that you can move forward successfully, and for some of you, into a marriage situation, which is really dope. All right, next up, we've got Capricorn. Capricorn, this full moon in Aries is happening in your 4th house of home and domestic affairs. So there may be a relationship with a close family member or a relationship with your mother that is going to be sparking all of this full moon activity. So there may be communication that really hits below the belt, communication that brings up past wounds, that's gonna have you feeling very vulnerable and raw. But again, the whole point of this is for things to come up that need to be cleared so that you can have a successful relationship moving forward. Again, the best way to get through this energy is to speak your piece, confront whoever needs to be confronted in a respectful way, of course. We don't want any fist fights or any, you know, crazy verbal arguments, but speak your piece and don't hold your tongue. This isn't the time to appease anybody or just keep the peace for the sake of peace. Get it off your chest so that you can move forward successfully. All right, let's get into the cards here. We've got message in a bottle. Okay, so I feel like this is definitely a message that's been bottled up for a long time, and it's a very emotional message. I feel like whatever transpires, whatever communication transpires between you and a close family member, it's going to be something that's been brewing for a long time, and it's going to be extremely emotional. Extremely emotional. But again, this is so that you can move forward successfully. That being the case, speak your piece. If you notice, there's a telephone in this bottle. So this may be a conversation that you have over the phone, perhaps. But either way, speak your piece, get it off your chest. It'll be best for the both of you if you do that. Let's get another message here. We've got the Empress. So this leads me to believe that this is definitely a situation between you and your mother, or you and your grandmother, or you and a baby's mother, someone that you have children with. Regardless, it's a maternal figure with which this whole full moon situation is going to play out for you, Capricorn. So again, speak your piece, say what's on your mind, say what you mean what you say. With Mercury in Scorpio, the conversation is going to be very deep. It's going to be very profound. A little hurtful perhaps, but it's all for the best. Make sure you get it off your chest so that you and this person, this mother figure, can have a better relationship moving forward. Moving right along, we are at Aquarius. Aquarius, this full moon in Aries is happening in your 3rd house of communication and ideas. This 3rd house also covers siblings, neighbors, people that are at a close proximity to you. So this full moon may illuminate some issues, especially some past repressed emotions, particularly anger, as it relates to your siblings or your cousins or people that are close to you, like your neighbors or members of your particular community. There might be an exchange of words that not only hurt you deeply, but bring up these past hurts and these past pains. Again, just like everyone else, you get the same advice as well. Definitely speak your truth. In order to have a successful relationship with these people, you're going to have to be upfront. You're going to have to be honest about how you feel and about how you've been hurt in the past. We definitely don't want to get into fist fights or any kind of crazy verbal arguments, but don't be timid. This full moon is in Aries. Aries is the warrior. We don't want you stabbing anybody, God forbid, or getting violent, but speak your truth. Be aggressive. Keep your interest in mind, because you don't want to just appease people. You don't want to just keep peace for peace sake. You want to have equality for you and everyone involved. So speaking your piece will definitely lead you in that direction. So let's see what message Spirit has for you for this full moon in Aries. We've got clean it up. Not sure if you can see that. And we've got between two worlds. So I feel like for you, Aquarius, there's some cleanup work that needs to be done. And I feel like you realize this because I feel like you've started to do this already with this between two worlds card. I feel like there's an old you that would have just not said anything, but there's this new you that's like speaking up and worrying about yourself. Aries is all about the self. And so I feel like you are concerned about yourself and how you're being treated. And you want to clean it up, especially as it pertains to your relationship with your siblings or neighbors or whomever. And you want to make things right. You've started to, and you kind of got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And this full moon is probably going to get both feet in, because it's going to bring up issues that you no longer can ignore, that you no longer can sweep under the rug. It's time to lift that rug and sweep it out. Sweep it out so that you can have a better relationship going forward. So let's get another card here. We got 2. Okay, we've got the High Priestess. And we've got the 3 of Wands. And I feel like the people around you are anticipating this. I don't feel like this is going to be a surprise to anybody. I feel like everyone is sort of on the same page. So it might be even easier for you to communicate as opposed to the other signs, because I feel like your counterpart, whomever the other person is in this relationship, I feel like they sense this already. And they're going to be receptive to your emotional needs. So I feel like this is going to really work out well for you, Aquarius. You just have to do the hard work and say what's on your mind and speak your truth. All right, and last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. And Pisces, this full moon in Aries is happening in your 2nd house of finance and material possessions. So there could be a relationship that affects your finances and material possessions that's going to play a part in this whole full moon in Aries saga. What do I mean by that? You may have a romantic partner or a child who directly affects your finances, who has a direct bearing on your finances. And that is where you're going to feel this tension. That is where you're going to feel this pain, perhaps, that you may be having a conversation with them regarding finances, regarding material possessions, that triggers a lot of old emotional pain, perhaps a lot of insecurity and self-worth issues, because that's also what the 2nd house governs. Those things may be coming up to the surface in order to be released and dealt with so that you can have a better relationship, not only with yourself when it comes to your self-esteem, but also with your romantic partner or child at this point in time. So that being the case, just like everyone else, the advice for the day is to speak your truth. Confront this person. Make sure that your needs are being addressed. This isn't just a situation where you want to appease somebody or just keep the peace and shut your mouth. You definitely want to speak your piece. You definitely want to have your needs addressed, and you need to get whatever emotional baggage you've been carrying, you need to get that off your chest so that you can move forward successfully and have a better relationship. So let's get into the cards and see what message. All right, we have Imagine. So I think to a certain extent, there's been a dream that you have. There has been a goal that you've wanted to reach with respect to finances or material possessions. And I feel like this relationship might have been a hindrance to that, or might have affected that goal or that dream in a negative sort of way, or has held you back in a sense. And now you want to move forward. Now you want to be able to expand and have that goal, that dream, or whatever it is come to fruition. And the full moon is going to shed light on that. Let's get another card here. Yeah, we've got the Four of Cups. And I feel like this relationship, the emotional baggage that this relationship is carrying and that is affecting this goal or this dream is going to have you miss an opportunity if you don't address it. So if you don't get whatever is on your chest off your chest, if you don't speak your truth, if you don't get to the heart of the matter within this relationship, there's an opportunity that you've been dreaming about that you may miss. So you definitely want to do the work for this full moon by speaking your piece, by communicating with this person in an honest, open, and deep way so that you don't miss any opportunities, especially as it could affect your finances or material goods, and so that you can have a better relationship with this person in the long run. All right, so that has been your Astro Forecast and Tarot Scope for this full moon in Aries, again happening on October 1st. I hope that you were able to get at least one message from this video. I hope it all made sense, and I hope that you get a better understanding of what is going on in the cosmos and how it's going to directly affect you so that you can live your best life. If you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me or order an astrology report, those links are in the description box below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Divine Feminine Works. Every week I do a series called The Week Ahead, which is just a quick and dirty tarot read. I also have some really great content on there, so follow me so you don't miss any of that. As always, everything that I do is a labor of love and comes straight from the bottom of my heart. If you feel so inclined and would like to tip me by buying me a coffee, that link is in the description box as well. My loves, it is always a pleasure and a privilege to read for you and to bring this information to you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.